What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we're going to go over some premium ships in World of Warships. Now, World of Warships has a lot of premium ships. They have a lot of premium ships. These are all the premium ships that are in World of Warships right now. I think maybe all but one or two. There's a lot of them. And a lot of them are known as being overpowered, underpowered, worth the money, not worth the money. But this video is going to be all over the ones that, in my opinion, are OP. I'm going to go over the top 5 overpowered ships in World of Warships. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to keep this kind of above tier 4. You know, you get like stuff like the Techabani, that's tier 2. Yeah, it's kind of gimmicky, blah, blah, blah. And also keep in mind that I will not be including anything that can be earned, as the USS Black, which is a rank reward ship, the Flint, the Missouri, other things like that. So I will not be including stuff like the Flint and the USS Black. These are things you have to get earned through ranked and that kind of stuff. But let's dive right into number 5, in my opinion, the 5th most overpowered ship in World of Warships. At number 5, we have the Grim Yashi. Now, this is a ship they haven't sold for a long time. I believe you can still get it maybe in some reward crates. I know Wargaming hasn't. This has kind of become a little bit of a redheaded stepchild in the fact that they don't. I don't think they're ever going to sell this ship again. And it was regarded as being one of the most overpowered ships, and that was back when stealth firing was still in the game. Now that stealth firing isn't in the game anymore, it's still extremely strong, but it's not as strong as it used to be. This is kind of the perfect storm of destroyers. Not only does it has a very low detection rate at tier 5, I think it only gets out detected by basically the IGN ships, but it has a really high health pool at tier 5, really good range at tier 5, good rate of fire, guns hit extremely hard, has 8-kilometer torps, and it's extremely fast for tier 5. So literally the perfect little destroyer package in this ship. It can hit extremely hard, the torps hit hard, and it can actually stealth and sneak up on the. Back when it was a stealth firing ship, it could absolutely just obliterate an entire team without ever getting spotted. And of course, if you get close enough, you can absolutely rip up cruisers with citadels. And not a lot of destroyers are able to do that. That's because this one has the higher caliber without a slower reload time. So at number 5, I picked the Grim Yashi. This thing is an absolute beast. Definitely a ship that you're missing out on if you didn't get it early enough in World of Warships. But maybe it'll come back in the future. Who knows? At number 4, I'm going to combine these two with the Kamikaze and the Fujin. They're basically the same ship. There's a small difference between each one, but honestly, they're basically the same ship. They just look different. And the reason these things are so overpowered, because recently, it was a few months back now, they changed the Minikaze, which is the tree ship. These are all very similar ships. Low detection, fast torpedo load, but they nerfed the Minikaze, so the Minikaze has, I think, slower torps now, and they do less damage. The Kamikaze and the Fujin did not get these nerfs, so these things are still extremely strong, basically being the same thing as a Minikaze. They are actually a stronger version than these, so especially at another tier 5 destroyer, they're relatively affordable, lower price point, and they're extremely strong. So if you go against Minikaze, you're basically going to win that fight, meaning that it's overpowered. One of the I guess the quote unquote biggest seal clubbers you'll see out there, being one of the lower tier ships, and this thing can just absolutely spit out torps and just absolutely obliterate multiple things on top of having pretty decent guns actually. So Kamikaze Fujin at number 4, I think is very, very solid, just being the king of low tier torp boats. At number 3, we have the Tier 7 Premium CV, the Saipan. Now, this thing is an absolute monster at CV and a Tier 7 matchmaking. One, because it has Tier 9 planes, so they are extremely fast, letting you get that first strike off, maybe taking out a destroyer right away, as well as being the only CV in the game that doesn't lose a fighter on its strafe, meaning you can kind of bounce your fighters back and forth on the strafes and never lose a fighter. You don't get punished like all the other CVs do. They'll actually lose a fighter if they strafe out of a locked-in fight. So this thing, you can just ping pong. It can actually ping away into an AA ship, strafe away into an AA ship. And this literally, the other day, caused an enemy CV to just leave. This thing has an insanely good chance of just never losing planes, really, compared to other ships going into other stuff. So Tier 9 planes, they're super fast. They strike really hard. The Saipan is an absolute beast. As well, if you go to the fighter loadout, you can have 3 fighters, 1 dive bomber, and that dive bomber has been known to one-shotting DDs. So, pretty insane ship. This thing is an absolute blast to play. It's one of my favorite ships to play. No wonder. It's super OP. And I'm putting at number 3 for the top 5 overpowered premiums. The Tier 7 CV, the Saipan. At number 2, we have the Belfast, the Win Fast, the Pay Fast. If you played Battleships in ranked season 2 seasons ago, you know you have a hatred for this ship. This was a ship also affected by the stealth fire nerf. You could actually stealth fire in the Belfast. Not too many people really needed to use it because it does have smoke. This thing is a perfect storm, kind of like the Grandmaster was at DD, but this is the perfect storm for a cruiser. Not only do you have radar, you have smoke, you have sonar, you have an insanely good rate of fire, and insanely hard hitting, especially with the inertia fuse now. You even got a buff from the latest inertia fuse. You have an insane fire chance. This thing is absolutely amazing. With its smoke, it's able smoke and low detection. It's able to up tier very well. It can absolutely burn down a battleship. It has just the right amount of arc in its shot to shoot over islands and use a lot of environment to cover. And it's a Royal Navy cruiser. It doesn't have a heal, but still, if you are angled, ships will just overpen you all day. So this thing is an absolute beast. Not only is the HE out of this world good, but the AP is actually very solid too. You'll just shred cruisers. This is known as being one of the, as I said, the win fast, the pay fast. This thing got a lot of people to rank ones in the last tier 7, and it caused a lot of rage in that season as well because of how good this ship is. It basically just destroys every other tier 7 cruiser. It literally counters any smoke ship, any DD. You can just chase them down and have no worry because not only do you have radar, you have sonar, you're relatively fast, and on top of that, your detection is very, very low at sub 9 kilometers with a 10-point captain. This thing is a beast. I love this ship. I honestly don't play this ship that much anymore, but this thing is an absolute beast. And on top of that, it even has decent AA. So it has really no weakness, honestly. But the Belfast, I put this as number 2, a close number 2 to the number 1 most overpowered premium in World of Warships. Well, out of all the premiums in World of Warships, I don't think this is much of a surprise as being, in my opinion, the most overpowered ship, and that is the Kutuzov. This thing is a beast. On top of just having an insane rate of fire, an insane Russian fire chance, an alpha damage that's crazy high, and then buffed with inertia fuse. It has no fly zone AA. You'll just destroy all planes. It has smoke, so it'll never be spotted. It is the perfect cruiser. This thing up tiers to tier 10s. You could bring this in a tier 10 division and be successful on a consistent basis. You can't do that with a lot of other cruisers. The Kutuzov is an absolute beast. When they changed the AFT change, which extended the range of stuff under 155 or 152, whatever it was at that point, this thing actually got a pretty big nerf for that because this had the lower caliber shells, so it would get the extension from AFT. Got it down to about 16 kilometers. But Wargaming said, nah, we can't do that. It's a relatively expensive premium. So what did they do? They extended the range. So this thing has a pinpoint accuracy range with a high rate of fire at 19.1 kilometers, farther than some battleships. And on top of that, with inertia fuse, you're going to be dropping 4 or 5k salvos on top of just lighting fires like a madman. The Kutuzov is the perfect premium to pick up if you just want to make people rage. As you can see, I have a lot of experience on this ship, and this thing will just absolutely burn down everything. I love to play this ship as lighting one fire on one ship, one fire on the other, because it just has that ability to do so. The Kutuzov is a must-kill ship because it's so powerful. And honestly, I think the Kutuzov is a must-kill, must-have. This thing's perfect. If you don't have it, it's definitely worth picking up. And if they ever have it on sale, I would definitely go try and grab it. So that is my top 5 premium OP premiums for World of Warships. We have a couple honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is going to be the Imperator Nikolai. This is a tier 4 Russian battleship, and this is something they don't sell that often either, and it's a relatively rare ship. Now this thing is extremely strong. It hits very hard, has great dispersion. This thing got a relative buff actually with the change to low tier CV, since they aren't allowed to manual drop, so it's able to take less damage from its one counter, which is the actual CV. So this thing has insane armor. I think it's right there with the Grammy. I put this as number 6 instead of number 5. So this is really the first honorable mention. The Imperator Nikolai, the tier 4 Russian battleship. This thing basically destroys everything else at this tier and kind of laughs at doing so. And the final honorable mention from me is going to be the Błyskawica. This is, in my opinion, as at one time was the most overpowered ship. This thing could stealth fire at 10.6 kilometers and shoot up at a range at 14.4. I don't think people realized how OP this ship was back in the day when stealth firing was a thing. Easily one of my most played ships. This thing was an absolute beast. It still is. Still absolutely dunk on everything. It can hit citadels close because of the higher main battery size, and can still just absolutely destroy because it hits just so hard at this tier. You have 7 guns, 7 shells going out, and you can absolutely just dunk on enemy destroyers. Even though it doesn't have the stealth firing ability, it's still insanely strong. And at one point, I would probably put this maybe 1-2 on the top 5 list, but right now, it's an honorable mention. I still think it's strong. It's not anywhere near as strong as it used to be when it could stealth fire for a basically almost 4 kilometer stealth firing window. So that is it, guys. That's my list for the most overpowered ships in World of Warships. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, if you guys agree, disagree with these ships. I feel like it's pretty decent for these ships on what we have here. But there's a lot of strong ships. People call them pay to win. I don't think they're pay to win, but they are definitely pay to have an advantage on some situations, and these are the ones that are going to give you the best chance. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.